So we've just arrived in Boracay. We are getting the transfer to the hotel. So we just got on the boat. We're getting a transfer to the hotel. It should take about 10 minutes and I put the prices here. We just got back from Boracay in the Philippines and I wanted to make this video to share exactly how much it costs and whether I think it was worth it or not. So in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what we spent on flights, accommodation, food, transport, activities, shopping and everything else, and whether I think Boracay was worth it for us as a family. This video is sponsored by Wise, which is what we use for all of our overseas trips. The great thing about Wise is they're really transparent about their fees. Wise uses the mid-market exchange rate, just like the one that you'd see on Google, without any sneaky exchange rate markup fees, and they show you all of their conversion fees up front. This is what I love about Wise. The pricing is very transparent and there are no hidden fees tucked into the exchange rate. So you can see the rate, the fee, and how much you'll receive before you convert or send the money. And if you want to try Wise for yourself, I've got a link in the description below for a fee-free transfer of up to $1,000. We just arrived and look how pretty this is. Wow, look at this, we're in a tuk-tuk, thank you. This was our first time visiting the Philippines and honestly, Boracay was so beautiful. It was like stepping into a postcard. The trip started with a bit of a journey. Our flight from Sydney to Manila arrived quite late, so we had to stay one night in Manila before getting a flight to Boracay the next day. Then there was a transfer, a boat, and another ride to the hotel. It sounds like a lot of transfers, but honestly, it was quite smooth. And as soon as we arrived in Boracay, it was honestly paradise. The water was so blue and so clear. The sand is so soft, and I honestly think that Filipino people are some of the nicest people in the world. So here's how much it cost us to get there. Let's start off with flights. I honestly think that finding a good deal with flights is so important because a little bit of planning can save you a lot of money. We did use some of our points for part of the journey, so this isn't necessarily what the full cash price would cost, but this is what came out of pocket for us. After points, the final out-of-pocket cost for flights was 1,278 Australian dollars for a family of 3 flying from Sydney to Manila and then taking a short flight from Manila to Boracay and then a return trip. This price includes 2 adults and 1 toddler. Gia just turned 2, so we had to pay about 80% of the price of an adult ticket for her seat. So it's basically like paying for 3 people now. So if you are planning your own trip, I would highly recommend comparing the prices with points, if you have points, versus with cash. And try to keep an eye on flights and even set price alerts. You can do this with Google Flights and also Skyscanner, just to make sure you're getting the best price. This can make a huge difference in the overall cost of your trip. So next was accommodation. We've just arrived and this is our room. Oh, we've got some little treats, so sweet. It's really pretty. The price for this room was around 1,800 Australian dollars for the week, and I've put all the conversions here so you can see, which I honestly think is really good value, especially since this resort is so huge. And it does feel very luxe, like they have really thought of everything. The biggest cost on this trip was accommodation. We stayed at the Mövenpick Boracay, and this was definitely not the cheapest hotel that you can get in Boracay. We also booked an extra night in Manila, and that cost us $120. One thing to know about Boracay is it's actually split into different stations. There's Station 1, Station 2, and Station 3. Station 1 is generally a bit quieter and it has a bit more of a premium feel. Station 2 is the more busy area, but it is very central, and D Mall, which is the main shopping strip, is right there. You'll also find lots of restaurants and nightlife here. And Station 3 is a bit more relaxed and budget friendly. Mövenpick is technically in Station 0. It is a little bit further away from D Mall and all of the action, but it does have a very private beach and it does have a very relaxed and resort style stay. I personally think it's amazing for families because it actually has the biggest pool in Boracay. Even though Mövenpick was a bit further away from all of the action in D Mall, you could still get a trike into the city, and they even had free shuttles from the Mövenpick that take you into the city as well. But even though Mövenpick wasn't super central, I really did love it, especially for Gia. We wanted something relaxing and something that felt easy and pretty much had everything in the one resort, which is exactly what we got. So a lot of the value really just came from all of the facilities around the hotel and the resort. So we weren't just paying for the room, we were paying for the pool, the convenience, and all of the restaurants, and just being able to walk up to any of the restaurants in the resort super easily. So with the Mövenpick stay and the Manila hotel, the final accommodation cost was $1,997. I really did enjoy staying at the Mövenpick, and I would highly recommend it for anyone that's looking to plan a family-friendly holiday in Boracay. But the only thing that I will say is I wasn't a huge fan of the breakfast. They had a lot of variety there, but to be honest, I tried a lot of things and I didn't really enjoy that much of it. So Pablo and I mainly stuck to just getting the omelette and eating the fruit for breakfast, which is honestly pretty rare for us because we do love trying lots of different types of food and we usually love hotel breakfasts. We had some friends and they actually stayed at the Crimson, which is right next door to the Mövenpick, and we had some food from some of their restaurants, and honestly the breakfast and the food there was amazing. So I kind of wish we didn't get breakfast included at the Mövenpick, so that way we could go to the Crimson or other places for breakfast instead. So now let's get into food. So we're at the market for lunch and I'm excited to see what we can get. We just had lunch. The price was 1,400 pesos, which is roughly 33 Australian dollars. We did have a discount though with the Core Plus, so it was 30% off. But it's not too bad, I think, for like such a beautiful resort. We just found the best snack. When you come to the Philippines, you have to try these banana chips. They're so good. They're kind of like sweet, not salty, and they're a bit caramelized, but not too sweet. So good, amazing. 10 out of 10. And this category was really interesting because Boracay had an amazing mix of food. We had some really affordable food. There were also some amazing snack and dessert bars. And there's also really nice casual food as well. I absolutely love trying their local desserts like Mango Halo and Coco Mama. Those desserts were honestly the highlight. And they have the most amazing snack, which are these banana chips, which you've probably saw in the video before. These banana chips were a 10 out of 10, but they are very dangerous. So don't leave me unsupervised with a bag of those chips. I did notice in Boracay that they had pretty massive price differences for some of the restaurants there. Some of the food was very affordable, but some of the more fancy restaurants were actually quite pricey. We are currently at a Japanese restaurant in Boracay. It's really nice. How good does this look? Amazing. Gia, look at this. This is your omi rice. Whoa. I'm not a big egg fan. Sometimes I think it's a bit too eggy, but let's try this. It's good. So the price was 4,095 pesos, which is approximately 93 Australian dollars, which is pretty expensive, but the Wagyu was really good and the ambience is really nice. For example, we went to a Japanese restaurant and it ended up costing us around 90 Australian dollars, which is pretty comparable to what we would pay in Sydney. Whereas we went to this other restaurant, which was more of a lunch restaurant, and this had different skewers and meze food, and that meal was only around 20 Australian dollars. So the price differences can be pretty big depending on which restaurants you go to. Most places accepted card, but there were a few places that preferred cash. But the amazing thing about using the Wise app is we were actually able to pay some of these restaurants and activities with GCash, which is basically like a local bank transfer in the Philippines. So that meant that we didn't need to go to an ATM and take out heaps of cash in order to pay for different restaurants and activities. So this was honestly a huge game changer and one of the reasons why I love using Wise whenever I am traveling. So by the end of the trip, food came to 834 Australian dollars. So we just got on the boat. We're getting a transfer to the hotel. It should take about 10 minutes. We're on a tuk-tuk back to the resort, which is 300 pesos. It's the way that you get around here in Boracay and they're all electric. These little electric trikes around Boracay were so much fun. And because the Mövenpick was a bit further away from D Mall, they even had a free shuttle going from our hotel into D Mall a few times per day. From our resort into D Mall, the E-Trike was around 300 pesos, which is around 7 Australian dollars, or about $4.90 US, depending on the exchange rate. But one of the bigger costs for this trip was actually getting a transfer into our hotel. Because Boracay is a small island, they don't actually have an airport on the island. So when you fly into Boracay, you're actually flying into another island, and then you'll often need to get a boat from that island into the main Boracay island. That boat transfer cost us around $200. So altogether, transport came to $307, and most of that was the transfer from the airport into our hotel. We made it to the beach and it is so beautiful here. You can't come to Boracay without visiting their beautiful beaches. The sand is so nice, the water is perfect. I just love all of the palm trees here. It's just so beautiful and The water is so blue. It's just, honestly, it's paradise. Isn't it so beautiful? So we've made it to the pool. You cannot go to a hotel with a pool without going to the pool, am I right? It's honestly one of the best things to do here in Boracay. We also got a free drink, and this drink was free. And the sunset is also free. There are so many really fun water activities that you can do in Boracay. And of course, visiting the beach is free. We booked a parasailing tour, which was so much fun, and also a boat island tour. A lot of these providers didn't accept card and they preferred cash, but luckily thanks to Wise, we were able to use GCash with Wise. There was a small fee of around 35 pesos when using GCash, but to be honest, if we were withdrawing cash from an ATM, first it would be a lot more hassle, and second, a lot of ATMs also charge their own fees. So I think using GCash is honestly a really great option, especially if you are going to the Philippines. We also did some of these trips with some of our friends from Australia, Mert and Lily. We paid up front for the activities, and they were actually able to pay us back using Wise, which is really handy, especially if you are traveling with friends. So overall, activities came to $245. So we are currently in D Mall, which is the main shopping strip in Boracay, and we're looking for a magnet. There are lots of shops here, so hopefully we can find one. We're very picky about our magnets because we only get one each trip. At home, we have a magnet collection, and every trip we get a magnet from somewhere that we've been. Doesn't take too much room, doesn't cost that much money either, so it's good. It's a new day. We've pretty much looked at all of the magnets that Boracay has to offer, and we found one that we really like, so let's buy it. We just found our magnet. It was 250 pesos, which is a bit more expensive than the other magnets that we saw, but we really like this one. As you can probably tell from our magnet hunt, we take shopping for magnets on our trip very seriously. We also did a few self-care activities, like I got my nails done, Pablo got a foot massage, and we also bought some little souvenirs and snacks to give to our friends back home. So overall shopping came to $20 and self-care came to $68. So now, the moment you've been waiting for, the total cost for our trip in Boracay as a family of 3. When we added everything up, the total cost of the trip was $4,752.89, or if we rounded up, $4,800. The biggest costs, unsurprisingly, were accommodation and flights. We used our Wise card and Wise app to pay for this whole trip, and it honestly made spending our money so much easier. So if you would like to try Wise for yourself, I've got a link in the description below for a fee-free transfer of up to $1,000. So thank you so much to Wise for sponsoring this video. So was Boracay worth it? For us, honestly, I thought that it was a really beautiful, amazing, and relatively budget-friendly family holiday, and the beaches were honestly stunning. I think you could definitely do Boracay even cheaper if you are intentional about where you stay and also where you eat. We weren't looking for a super budget-friendly holiday, but I do think we got really amazing value for what we spent. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. Your secret word is banana chips. So write us a comment below with the word banana chips in there, just so we know you watched this video all the way through. Thank you. Bye.